Hi, welcome back to the UKLC. We are ready to jump into our fourth game of the day and our final game of the day before we do our patented sphere draw. It is going to be Barrage going up against Diabolus, which again, talking to Orcs in the break, you said might be the closest of the day.
On paper, I think it's the closest. I think Diablous, people still tout them as one of the top 4 teams, but Barrage has a lot of veterans in their roster and quite strong across the board. I think Artorias against Kerberos is a matchup to watch. I think both our top laners have been in the scene for a while. So please, I do not want Urgot Scion again. Something interesting. Like, I'd like to see something like, I don't know, Yorick Silas or something.
I want to give a little shout out to Kerberos because he's got the best part of the intro video, the patented Kerberos, the IRL auto reset. Yeah, Kerberos, going for it. It's my favorite part. Actually, no, my favorite part is Aragon. That's my favorite part. But Kerberos is up there. Right, we have Diabolus versus Barrage. This, again, is going to be a pretty close one. And I believe we do have Jake, Hiprain, Matthews standing by to talk about the teams.
I mean, don't run into Kerberos at Atlantic Scoundrel, he'll deck you. It's such a good show. I'm really excited to get going into this game because, like we said, this is probably going to be one of the more competitive matches from today. We'll see whether or not the devil himself can fall to a battleship, as we will have a little rundown of the rosters here, starting with Diabolus in just a second. But Diabolus have shifted from coming second in Forge of Champions, and they've changed up a lot of the roster coming into the UK League Championship. And I'm really excited to see exactly how this roster can perform because, like we said, they've picked up someone like Kerberos in the top lane. So let's bring up the roster so we can show you exactly what's going on with this team. But I mean, first of all, we'll start out with Kerberos in the top lane. We've got the Baron objective stealing god that is Monkeys, Kroxon in the mid lane, Yusa and Hado in that bot lane duo as well. And Yusa's definitely one of these ADCs that I've been watching throughout the UK scene for a little while. But they will be taking on a battleship. They will be taking on Barrage. And again, another top laner that we're very excited to see, Artorias, Prosper's twin brother as well, coming up on this Barrage roster. So we'll bring that roster up now and we can show exactly who is going to be playing and who we are going to be watching. As here it comes, there we go. Yes, Artorias, it's basically Prosper with short hair. We've got Scutzy in the jungle, Cremil in the mid lane, the XXL player, Nutri in the ADC role, and Prelude in just Prelude, that's a different Prelude. Prelude in support. So very excited roster as well here, because if we do look at Nutri, especially as her competitive history goes, has played multiple roles across different teams. So exciting to see how they're going to perform there in that ADC role. But I think this is going to be all about the top lane. So guys, break it down more.
Yes, Artorias, if you didn't know, was the twin brother of Prosper.
I just learned that today.
I know, but I have some other news about Artorias. I did promise him I'd do this. He is the best top laner to ever have existed in competitive League of Legends, period. He is going to hard hammer anybody in that top lane.
Sure. I guess we'll have to see about that
Thanks,
one.
Artorias. You can give me a like on Twitter for that. Thank you.
Oh, that's what we're playing for here.
Sorry, social interaction is my main game. Yes, this is going to be a really, really interesting matchup, and I believe we might have a video of these particular teams talking about their thoughts coming into this and what they're expecting of the game. So we'll have a look.
I'll conjure up.
Hi, I'm Artorias. I come from Wigan in North West England. I play top lane for Barrage esports. The goals for the team this split, I think we can definitely make top 4. I think most players would probably say we were maybe the 5th or 6th best team, but I think we can definitely push for top 4, maybe even 3rd if we try hard. And personally, I think I'd like to show that I am a more consistent top laner than Kerberos. He stands out as a big rival.
My name is Mungus, I'm from Denmark, and I'm the jungler for Diabolus. My goals for this season with Diabolus is for sure to get top 2. I think there's a lot of good competition, but I think we can beat them all, pretty much. My goal for this season is to be the best teammate I can be, grow as a player, and as a jungler, yeah.
And Artorias calling out Kerberos, saying he's going to be more consistent than him. Ooh. And this is a matchup we have this game, so interesting to see. I do know that they are close friends, but not on the Rift.
I actually don't think that is an unfair statement. I'm gonna blanket that out there.
Yeah.
I don't think Kerberos will be as consistent as Artorias. Given, okay, let's see, we haven't seen Artorias in competitive for a little while, but on his solo queue performance, he's been really good over the last few months. And if anything that we've known from Kerberos, he can either be awesome or he will feed.
Yeah, Kerberos can be your angel or your devil. I mean,
we are continuing the Valentine's Diabolus theme as well. Ooh, saucy from Orcs. Right, we've got the bans coming through here. Karthus, Ezreal, Cassiopeia, Lucian, just like you said, some of the most common red side bans, and Akali rounding that out on the blue side.
Just interestingly, they banned the Akali away on the blue side. This is something that I've had thoughts about, because Krogston is someone who traditionally prefers to play a lot of mages.
Yeah.
Think of him a bit like Froggen in the fact that he is like an Anivia player. He likes that sort of champion, the control mages. So the fact that they're banning away the Akali indicates to me that maybe he's not super comfortable on blinding these assassins.
Vladimir, what do you make of that? Is that towards Krogston or towards Kerberos? Because I know Kerberos has taken that to the top lane a few times.
I think it could go either, to be honest. I can see both of them playing it. We'll pick up the Urgot very quickly. And then the Kai'Sa coming in. This is interesting because Yusa definitely sees Kai'Sa as being his go-to on this patch. So interesting enough that they decide to ban that, to pick that away from him so quickly.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing Nutri play in AD carry, because she's really had multiple sets of experience, like Hiprain said. And she's played in jungle, she's played as a coach, or been a coach, being a support player, so has plenty of experience across those roles. But this is a more mechanically intensive role that we haven't really seen Nutri play in before. Yeah,
and actually I spoke to Artorias about it, and he said that she's definitely more quiet in this role, because in the previous roles she would shot call, and obviously AD carries tend to more focus on individually. But there's still a lot of communication coming from her, so definitely provides that asset to the team. And I think that's a big thing with Barrage roster, is there's a lot of experience across the board. Everyone on that roster is LAN experience, so definitely going to have a lot of communication coming out from them. Very quickly see Thresh and Xayah come off from the side of Diabolus, and then the counter pick, Prelude, who is the sub-in for Barrage, picking up that Morgana.
Yeah, Bartiono unfortunately had an emergency and couldn't make this game, so Prelude happy to step into that support role. Might mean the bot lane is going to have some weaknesses. Obviously, a lot of the practice will have gone in between Nutri and Bartiono. However, Barrage still have plenty of great players across the map, and we can see that first round locked in here.
This might be it. They've gone to second rotation without picking Sion, so I think that Diabolus should ban Sion out here, and we won't have Sion Urgot for once.
Oh,
please.
Let's see.
I expect that it should happen. The Zoe's coming. It has to be that second ban. There's zero reason for it not to be that second ban.
Looks like Monkiz is being targeted here. He was pretty much classically known for his Sejuani in the UK scene during Forge of Champions.
Pretty good on Gragas as well. I can see that coming out as a ban here.
It looks like if you're going to target him in the second phase, you might as well go all in and target him with both of your bans. Otherwise, Gragas probably sounds like a pretty good kind of a fullback here for Monkiz if that's what he wants to go for. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Gragas. I mean, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
That's what I'm here for. That's what they bring me here for.
What could you see Monkiz go on to potentially outside of these two?
I mean, I think you're moving more away from the sort of strict tanks. I wouldn't like to see a Zac in this matchup. It's just not good into the Xin Zhao.
Something like Lee Sin?
I have seen it played. Lee Sin works.
Yeah.
I think you can keep the early pressure. Like someone like Tarzan can play Zac, but that's Tarzan. He's the best jungler in the world. I think.
Of course.
We have seen Monkiz play Lee before, so something along those lines, or potentially the Olaf would work in this situation. And we've actually seen a very quick Victor lock-in from the side of Barrage, and crucially, this is something that we've seen a lot in the top lane.
Yeah, we see not always Frostmancy, but definitely Kleptomancy in the top lane.
And can just lane well into those things. Seen it for like previously saw it tank. But Krumel is actually a really solid Victor player.
Yes.
Confident in these control mages. So I like that they pick this up as a flex. It could go in either lanes comfortably, and actually seeing the Lee Sin come out. So good call on that one.
Yeah, thanks, man. I definitely didn't know that was going to happen. And Lee Sin now going over to Monkiz. What do you make of Lee Sin's Monkiz's Lee Sin? Because I am not 100% sure I've seen much of it from him in competitive.
I mean, I've seen it before. I think people get the mistake that they think Monkiz is a pure tank player and he doesn't like to sort of play aggressive.
Yeah.
More so when I spoke to Yusa, it's that, sorry, I spoke to Kerberos, it's that he plays more for his team.
Sure.
You get really selfish junglers. Monkiz isn't like that. He plays for his team.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he can't play champions like Lee Sin. Especially now they have a great 2v2 mid with Lissandra. That really raises some questions if you want to send the Victor mid, because there is obviously going to be that pressure. You get locked down with Lissandra, and then the Lee Sin comes in.
What do we round out here for Barrage? What is the pick for which we assume is going to be in the mid or top for Barrage that's going to help keep this composition together?
Personally, I don't like the Galio here. They've gone Shen, so I guess I wanted some more global presence. It does mean that the Victor's going to go mid, which means it's a bit of a liability.
Especially versus Lissandra post-6.
Yeah, versus Lissandra Lee, as soon as your cleanse is down, you're just so vulnerable. It does mean in terms of backline damage, though, Barrage has a lot of it. And I think a good thing here, compared to the composition of Bulldogs, is that when Scudzy dives on this Jin Zhao, he has backup, because that Shen's going to be ult onto him and follow up. And it also means a bit more protection for Nutri on this Kai'Sa.
So now that we are into these full compositions locked in, I like to just run down the win conditions, and I have my beautiful assistant, the ever knowledgeable and dashing Orcs, to talk a little bit about what you believe the win conditions are of both sides. So let's start with Diabolus.
Well, I think Diablous have good potential to 1-3-1 and also a lot of pick potential and good engage. So I think they have plenty of assets in that regard. I think later on, the issue they're going to have is they don't really have any true tanks, and when you're up against a Kai'Sa Victor, if they go late game, it can be problematic. I think for Barrage, they want to get the Jin Zhao ahead early and then use the global pressure of the Shen to just snowball that into the mid game.
So if you are now Scudzy playing Jin Zhao, which of these lanes do you want to focus on to start getting ahead? Are you going to want to be aggressive in the enemy jungle versus a Lee Sin? Doesn't seem such a good idea. Where are you going to look to try and snowball?
I mean, if you find the Lee Sin and Jin Zhao, you can duel him.
Okay.
The problem is that he can just escape if he has his flash or his safeguard. So I feel like you either want to divert your attention top or bot. Bot, there's the easy setup on the Thresh. We saw that even in Mystique's game, who arguably is one of the best performers of the day, he got caught out early on that Thresh because it's, once you're pinned down, you're basically doomed. So I think bot would be a good option. I think the alternative is top, and Urgot will like to shove in against a Shen. If Shen lands a taunt, it's pretty easy to have the follow-up, and his escape doesn't work because the Shen taunts past you. So if you want to escape, you just end up running into him.
Do you think it's as cut and dry as go to late win game for Barrage?
No, I don't think it's as easy as the competition with M&M, where you can very capably fight front to back, because the front line for Barrage isn't as like strict and tight as in the previous game. Like before, it was like, you know, Monk had like 3 walls in front of him essentially. It's not as clear cut here, and I feel like in a late game team fight, if Diabolus find a flank, they will still be able to kill those carries. Before with the Civ, it's like even if you found a flank, you just spell shield and then flash, and then it's doomed. But
the way I look at this composition, and it's something that you can probably correct me on if I'm wrong, I feel like this is a massive test for Nutri. This is a test for Nutri's mechanics specifically, because I feel like if you want to succeed in late game situations, she has to be absolutely on top of her game in terms of mechanical play, because it's not like you said, you don't have the backup of a spell shield, you don't have the backup of, well, you got the Morgana shield obviously, but you don't have the backup of that big front line to just soak things for you. And I feel like your positioning and your mechanical play in this game is going to be absolutely paramount to success.
I think especially for her and for Cromel and this Victor,
Yeah.
I think their position late needs to be absolutely stellar.
So we are jumping into game. I know I was holding out to your hand just to hold, because I can't contain my excitement. We're about to jump into game, the last game of our first day of the UKLC. It is going to be Diabolus taking on Barrage, and you can see the roster here: Kerberos, Monkeys, Crocs, and Yusa, and Hado coming through for Diabolus. And if we look over at Barrage, Artorias, Scudzy, Cromel, Nutri, and Prelude heading up their roster. We are just about to roll onto the Summoner's Rift to have our final game of the day.
I like Nutri's cap, the little Barrage cap.
That's a nice piece of merch.
Yeah.
I love it. Barrage of, I think the Barrage jerseys look amazing as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of talks about. I think they look cool. I think Bulldogs, I like them as well. Some nice jerseys going on. There's actually a few in this studio. I might, you know, just borrow one.
Borrow one. Well, here we go. Barrage and Diabolus onto the Rift. And it is just a quieter start as we begin. Nothing too much happening. What do you expect? We talked a little bit about what we expect from Scudzy. What do you expect from Monkeys on this jungle? Because again, it's not something that we have seen much of him sort of do in competitive.
I mean, you have such easy setup for Monkeys. Like top lane, if you flip over the Shen, he's not going to be in a good position. Even though that's probably one of the hardest lanes to gank. Bot lane, if you just walk, if you burn the Black Shield for Morg, they're easy pickings. And then mid again, if Cromel's cleanse goes down, you're in such a comfortable position. So I just want to see him apply consistent pressure and track Scudzy, and then when the opportunity for a gank comes, execute on it.
So you're just saying that he needs to utilize the CC that exists in his lanes, get into them, and find those kills. Well, we are
he
starting.
Needs to press Q, land the Q, press Q again.
That
done.
Sounds like a Lee Sin player to me.
Yep. Do you see the Pixel Brush is warded defensively by Scuzzy? I think this is a good call. You want to be cautious of the Lee Sin. I did say how if the Xin Zhao finds the Lee Sin, he's in a good condition. But if you're low HP on the Xin Zhao, the execute from Monk is going to be so much stronger and add to that 1v1 potential.
Hado on Thresh. Not something that I've seen Hado play too much of, actually. A little bit of a new light for him. I've generally been used to him playing pretty much Alistair, Braum throughout all of the competitive season last time round. But this is more mechanical, more playmaking. And maybe it will show us a different side to Hado, who has had a rough couple of splits in the UK, actually, in terms of his own performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think people give a lot of discredit to Hado because they say, you know, he's not the greatest player, but...
If you listen to Candy Floss, he's got no arms.
Yeah, but Hado is a sort of player who's been around for such a long time, and I think his reputation is also a hindrance because at one point he was sort of going toe-to-toe with when it was Misfits old team, when it was Renegades in the UK scene, and that was a really stacked roster. And this guy's been around for so long. He's won the UK split several times. He has a lot of experience. That's a lot of time to make mistakes, and I think people hone in on them. But I think against the average run-of-the-mill UK support, he's still a veteran who can show up.
Yeah, he's got so much experience under that soul-ridden belt of the Thresh there. Hado is probably, I would almost argue he might even be one of the most the longest-standing veterans, apart from Dan, who maybe has not had as much experience in the UK scene, but in terms of competitive seasons...
Yeah, I mean, Hado was like a veteran when I joined, and then I retired.
and then you
and
retired.
He's still going.
And he's still going. Artorias versus Kerberos. I mean, okay, let's talk about this lane matchup, because this, I get the feeling it's not great for the Shen without the support from the Xin Zhao.
I mean, it's not awful. Shen's pretty good at siesta in the tower, so you can fairly easily just sit under the tower as Shen and farm. Urgot isn't exactly going to want to get under tower. I mean, this is a crucial thing with Shen, is not only do you CC someone under tower, you taunt them. So Urgot's not going to try and harass you in a tower that much. So essentially, Artorias can just free farm until he gets his ult. And then the thing is, if Kerberos tries to apply pressure in this lane, there's always a threat of a gank. So I think it's a fairly decent pickup. It isn't a very interactive lane, though, so I doubt we're going to see very many solo kills. But I would have thought that earlier until Aragon just started murdering everyone on that Urgot.
Well, you can see Artorias happy to let that wave shove into him, tries to keep it as close to his turret as possible, but does manage to get that reset. And CS pretty even across the board between Kerberos and Artorias, although you do have to take into account there was a back from Kerberos, so he should have a minor CS advantage whenever Artorias decides to make the back of his own.
He managed to pick up that crucial game changer, the Ruby Crystal. Oof. So hopefully that's going to turn the course of the game.
That is a big boy item right there from Kerberos.
Yeah, I mean, things are fairly even from the start, which I guess is to be expected, because we did say these teams were quite evenly matched, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because earlier in the other games, I definitely said we came in with a favorite. And I think people will lean towards Diablous, but especially with the roster change from Barrage. But I really don't know who's going to win this game. And I think it's anyone's, depending on how things play out. And although I think the draft is easier to execute for Diablous, I by no means think one team came out and just absolutely won it.
I think I absolutely agree there. There is definitely... I'm sorry, Dan, I didn't offer you a seat.
Yeah. I mean,
just off camera here, we have decided to fashion some seats for ourselves. I am old and my legs hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not old, but...
Your legs hurt anyway.
No, it's just why not sit when you can?
That's true.
Yeah, I've been casting 3 games now.
Preserve those femurs.
Yeah, I've been casting the whole day now.
You have. You've put in a shift, my man. And it looks like... I want to talk about Yusa as well, actually. He's had a lot of hype as an AD carry coming into this particular split. Everybody in the Forge of Champions was saying, well, sub in Yusa, because he's really good. But we never really saw him get that opportunity.
I mean, my opinion of Yusa is, when he came to the scene as a rookie, there was a lot of potential around him. And I think people looked at him to be like the next... We've had such a repertoire of UK AD carries. We've had Toaster, Deadly, Inax, X-Mighty. And I think people are looking at him to be the next one to reach that. The only thing I'm cautious about is, although he had a good first initial split, that does not mean he's there now. And one thing that has been talked about even by his teammates is that he gets a bit of an ego.
Ooh,
so I want him to put that to bed and be a no-ego player and just focus on his own gameplay, because he has potential. I'll absolutely say that, but he needs to ensure that he achieves that.
Well, he's up a small amount of CS against Nutri here, about the 10 mark, but Nutri has got a big wave coming towards him here, so it shouldn't be too much of a differential when that does eventually crash into Nutri's side of the map. Nutri not happy to extend up in the lane without vision, not knowing where Hado is on this Thresh. Morgana now going to make her way back, so Preload coming back to support Nutri as that wave pushes towards the tower.
Yeah, good control coming out here, and Monk is in the area, so that means river control definitely going over to Diabolus. Just seeing that Scudzy on this side of the map, we do not have the Shen ult available, so I'm definitely looking for that to be incorporated in any plays coming out from Barrage. And I feel like when you have these high-impact global ults, particularly ones with long cooldowns, like a Nocturne's Paranoia or a Shen's Stand Beside Me, I think my criteria for how good it is what you get from it. Each usage, you should get something significant. So like, do you get a kill? Do you get an objective? I think if you're just using it defensively to save people, it's not really the optimal usage. I'd like to see Scudzy say, hey, I'm going aggressive, ult me, and then they look to find a play on the map. Right now, unfortunately, he's on top side, which is arguably the worst place to be with a Shen because you ult him like 5 meters. But hopefully after he steals away this blue for Chromel, which I'm sure he's going to love, they look for a chance to go for an aggressive play. And actually, it looks like Scudzy might be looking for Monkeys. Backs off in time. Yeah, that was good movement from Maxi because he almost got collapsed on there by the Urgot on the Lissandra. Now recalling, and I'd like to see him head towards the bot lane. Look for a play. If you land a binding onto Hado, he is dead. And the thing is, even if Monkeys comes to counter gank, the Shen ult means you're going to have an advantage.
So it's been a pretty quiet game so far. Usually we'll have seen at least a little bit of action open up in our games today in the UKLC. But everything seems quite even as Hado goes for the pull here. Has to be careful because Shen is level 6 as Prelude does pop that shield. And it was more of a warning shot than a full commit coming out from Diabolus.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put Hado in a low position. I want to see Scudzy come in and capitalize. You have the Shen ult. It's a good situation to go for this, but it was a good hook from Hado. Prelude not able to spell shield in time. Guess he expected to dodge it. But now they're going to use this pressure to try and go for the dragon. This could get dicey though, because Monkeys is going to get low take in this. If a play goes on bot, he's not going to be able to come and support. Yeah,
well, that is exactly what it looks like it's shaping up to be right now, as Scudzy is sat right on top of a ward. So they know exactly what's going on. Hado and Yusa not going to overcommit.
My question is, Prelude has a pink ward, so should they not have just pink warded that brush?
Yeah, that control.
They're actually sending question mark pings to Scudzy.
That's Cream out. Oh, the flash. He was scared of Monkeys going for the kick flash play there into Croxon, who did have that ultimate available. So that was a super defensive flash from Chromel. And actually, just for a Q and a bit of damage under tower, not a bad play now, because it makes him a little bit more vulnerable in that mid lane.
I mean, they can just go for the same play again, and now there's no flash on Chromel, so there's no way he gets out. Really going to be dicey. And Artorias actually winning this trade.
Oh, what a madman. Artorias going in. Kerberos maybe overcommitting ever so slightly as Artorias gets the slow. That is a huge amount of damage. And the Shen just 1v1s the Urgot.
You know, we talked about consistency against Kerberos. I think that shows it, just proccing that grasp multiple times. And I think Kerberos just completely underestimated him. Didn't expect him to find that much damage.
Well, he's got Ninja Tabai, and he's got Barmy Cinder.
And I think as well that the ability to block auto attacks works really well against Urgot's Purge.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kerberos flipped him back into that null zone, basically, and was able to block a couple of extra auto attacks. And you actually, you often do underestimate Barmy's Cinder damage. When you're in an elongated duel with a Shen, he can just sit there, especially when he gets the shielding up on himself, and he can tank quite a lot. And that's a statement from Artorias. I told you, best top laner in the world.
Well, he's showing it. And crucially as well, is the difference between having a Keystone and not having one. I mean, Urgot has Spellbook, but he didn't use the Ignite. So essentially, his summoner, his Keystone was sitting out for that whole fight, whereas Artorias just repeatedly proc this Grasp. And it does a significant amount of magic damage.
I felt like I could read, just through Kerberos' movements, the thoughts going through his head. Maybe I've overcommitted. No, I've not overcommitted. Maybe I have overcommitted. I've definitely overcommitted.
And then at the end, he was like, I'm not even going to flash here because he'll just flash after me and kill me. So, yeah.
Kerberos now moving down towards the Rift Herald area. Monkeys
trying to redeem himself.
Yeah, trying to redeem himself. Could potentially get an engage onto Scudzy, but Scudzy not going to overcommit in this scenario. But here we go. Monkeys going in. That's the ultimate immediately from Scudzy. Scudzy dives back onto the backline. That's a great taunt onto Monkeys, who's going to go down to Artorias. What a bloody madman Artorias is this game, as Croxon jumps right into the fray onto Scudzy. Does get the kill, and Kerberos is there to back him up, but Artorias looking for a taunt, gets bailed out by the Lantern from Hado, and that was a really good rotation from Hado there, actually.
Yeah, crucial roam from Hado, picked up those Moby Boots early, so able to make that happen. If that hadn't happened, could have gone a bit dicey. But this was actually a great situation for Diabolus. They traded 1-for-1, and they got that Channel. You know, we talked about the impact that those first global ults made, so you used that first Channel, and you got nothing. You traded 1-for-1.
Artorias also now picking up the Bramble Vest, so giving him even more armor, defending against some of those basic attacks, and it's actually pretty solid against these basic attacks coming up from Kerberos when he has that lock on too. Let's take a look at that again, Dan.
Yeah, so Monkeys opts to go in on Scudzy, and then the Channel comes in straight away, and that's when he wants to back out, but Artorias instantly gets on top of him and he goes down. And then you think Krogson might be overextending here, does have to burn his flash to find this kill, and under normal circumstances might be a dicey situation, but Hado comes with the Lantern so he can get out. And yeah, that could have been a 2-for-1 if Hado wasn't there, but fortunately he provides support for his team. So good moves from him, showing his veteran experience.
Yeah, Hado read the map really well there. Probably told Krogson that he'd be able to Lantern him out. But Artorias is in a...
Probably told them way ahead of time. He was like, Monkeys, go for this play. In exactly 47 seconds, I will Lantern Krogson out and we'll trade 1-for-1 and get the Channel.
That sounds like big brain Hado to me.
Absolutely.
Guy is a genius.
Hado the Chado.
Oof, I love the name. Kerberos having to play super defensive here. Doesn't have that Black Cleaver online yet. And is actually struggling to duel up against Artorias in this top lane.
It's difficult as well to itemize defensively.
Oh, wait a second. Did you just get a kill?
Yeah.
Onto Prelude.
Hopefully we'll see the replay of how that happened, but this does mean Nutri is going to be forced off this tower. Tower plating is still up. Conqueror going to come in. This is a lot of free gold over to the Diablous bot lane. So as much as things might look a bit dicey on the top side, the bot lane pulling their weight.
Not as dicey as you may think, though, as Rift Herald now goes down as well. Here we go. Let's have a look at that pull. It was just a standard pull. That's just a standard level 6 thresh kill right there. Oh, that was a nice ult, though.
Flashed in a straight line. That
was your problem.
That was your issue. Also didn't Black Shield. That's another issue.
Also didn't flash the hook. Another issue.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. It was a last-minute substitution for Prelude to come in. He's doing his best, though, but being caught out there due to largely lack of experience in the matchup.
Take a look and stock of CS at this point in time. A big...
Several CS.
Several CS. Big CS lead opening up for Yusa versus Nutri here. Round 23, so it has been a bit of a tough lane for Nutri to survive in. She's unfortunately not had the sort of the presence in that lane. Morgana not able to be as imposing as she maybe wanted versus Hado.
I mean, we are seeing the engage come out here from Scudzy. Channel not quite available, but coming up soon. But they're just going to take out Hado before anything's done. Good plays. I mean, the Channel was coming up soon, but they don't even need it. And now Infernal is on the map, looking to take this. Under normal circumstances, it might be dicey to go for a mid-game team fight against stuff like the Sandra, but in a great position here.
Lovely, lovely proto-bout from Krogson, and Prelude is going to be forced to back away here. Krogson even going to head back, but you made a great point. The Infernal Dragon was a really good capitalization. They need to be a bit careful, though, because they're taking a significant amount of damage, and Monkeys is not done just yet. He maybe wants to go for the steal as he jumps in, back onto the line. Scudzy immediately gets the kill, and here comes Artorias on the Shen. They're going to taunt up Lysandra. She's going to go down too, but oh, that's Kerberos. He flashes in and gets a huge, huge fear from Kerberos. Redeemed himself for everything that happened in the laning phase, and that is Krogson and Kerberos getting a huge swing for Diabolus.
And that's the power of that Urgot. That execute is so impactful. Had now picked up the Black Cleaver. And I said it was a dangerous team fight to go for against Lysandra. They ended up trying to back off when they were already low and got caught out. And the crucial thing is when your health is low against the Urgot, you are always a target.
I feel like they just didn't commit to the Infernal Drake straight away. Like, Prelude walked up towards the mid lane to try and get a gank.
They didn't want to risk a 50-50, and then they gave Diabolus 100-0 by dying.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like if they just pulled Hado, got the kill, everybody then committed to the Infernal, they probably would have got it before Monkeys had even had a chance to respond.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
it's difficult to say in hindsight, right?
They pay for those mistakes.
Yeah.
Next Dragon will, I believe, we will see that fight go underway. So you see, they start to back off here. Great TP from Krogson, and now, no, from Kerberos, and Krogson comes in there, locks down the Kai'Sa, and then Nutri is dragged in and then flash to land the fear on so many members. Kumel is off to the side with no mana, unable to do anything. And it's a similar situation we saw in the XL Feeling game, when one of your carries has no mana and one of your carries dies and there's just nothing you can do.
All right, this is going to be Rift Herald unleashed in the mid lane. Lots of damage going down to mid lane turret, but I don't know if there's going to be the potential to capitalize, and I think Rift Herald might just be going down. Wait a second though, Scuzzy caught out. 2 ultimates burnt onto him as he dives back in onto Monkeys. That's the Void Zone coming out from his ultimate, but he does eventually go down to Yusa. Artorias on the side lanes. Great Lantern, like you said. As they are going to try and pick up Croxon here. Croxon taken very low, but doesn't go quite down as Monkeys gets the kill onto Artorias. They're even going to pick up Croxon on the back line as Nutri dives in, a little bit too aggressive. Kerberos going to finish that one up.
And Diablous just getting away by the skin of their teeth with Yusa taking that great Lantern out. Croxon just surviving. And it just feels like the team fights are so much easier for Diabolus to execute. They have all the CC, they have all this mobility on their front line.
Are they just playing around their power spikes really well here, or is it something else?
I think it's just executing well in the mid game. Like with Barrage's composition, you need your carries to scale, but if you want to make anything happen mid game, you need to use a Shen and have a numbers advantage. When it's a 5v5, Shen's utility just goes out the window. They nearly took out Yusa, but a great ultimate and then Lantern from Hado meant that they weren't able to pin him down, and then everyone else can just buy so much time with the utility from Lissandra and the tankiness from the Urgot.
The scoreboard makes its return. I was about to say hashtag bring back the scoreboard, but you know, they preempted me.
They brought back. Won't be going away for a long time, don't worry. Just takes little breaks, but here to stay on the most part.
All right, let's take stock. 17 minutes into the game. 4,000 gold lead now for Diabolus after a series of really strong team fights, mainly facilitated by Croxon and Kerberos. What do they need to do now to continue to push that advantage?
I mean, just make sure there isn't a numbers advantage for the side of Barrage. This Xayah is so strong, but currently without the Blade Caller. Is that the ult? What's the ult called again? The jumpy uppy area thingy.
Storm? I don't know,
Probably, maybe, you know. It's an ability. It's the ult where she jumps up. Doesn't have that right now, or flash, so play a bit reserved for that. Then look to get that second Infernal Dragon, and that will definitely make things a massive advantage for your side and really cement a scaling component, even up against a Victor and a Kai'Sa. Just be cautious and don't get caught out by some channel or let the tower be at your advantage. See, they're making the move down here. Crogson's there already. You're going to be in a favorable position where the numbers advantage isn't there. Hook doesn't connect.
Kerberos is trying to get up to and putting pressure on Artorias so he can't get an easy Shen ult off in this situation. Remember, you can just dive in on with the Urgot and flip that Shen while he's trying to use the ultimate.
Yeah,
that'll stop it from channeling.
I think it was good that Diabolus backed off there because, again, they don't have flash on their AD carry. They don't have TP at the moment. They don't need to go for that play. It's not like the other games where there was a very much adamant scaling advantage. Like, yes, Krumel on this Victor and Nutri on this Kai'Sa are great in the late game, but their composition as a whole just isn't that stellar. With regards to team fighting in the late game, they don't have that much protection or cover. So I think Diabolus can definitely afford to put the brakes on a bit and only go for plays that are high percentage and gonna win them the game.
Taking stock of the AD carries specifically as well, Orcs, 60 CS advantage plus opening up for Yusa over his counterpart in Nutri 2, and that results in a significant number of items. He's got a whole completed item over Nutri at this point in time, having the rapid fire cannon built with the Berserker Greaves too. I mean, this is a pretty solid advantage that he's sort of negotiated.
One of the strengths of Kai'Sa is that every item she picks up, it feels like a spike. You know, the Storm Razor spike is big, and then you have the Ginsu's, again, big. The problem is Yusa's so far ahead that he's just ahead of these curves on these item spikes. So even though each item is a good spike for the Kai'Sa, you're so behind with regards to the Xayah, who's already picked up 2. You're just not going to win this competition.
It looks like Barrage wants to fight this Infernal Drake as they go in and look for Kerberos, who's already tanking up on the front line. A massive dive coming out from Lissandra, who ults herself. A huge amount of damage going over Barrage as Kerberos pulls in, looks for the big fear, but no one able to capitalize on it as we actually have a pretty solid turnaround. Yusa still alive, though, as is Victor and Kai'Sa. Somehow Barrage pick up the pieces of what felt like a really solid Diabolus engage, and a 3-for-3 at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great binding from Prelude came out. In the replay, I'll be able to highlight on that, but it actually gave a lot of life to Barrage there. The unfortunate thing is, at the end of the day, Diabolus got the second Infernal, and they came out ahead. It was an even trade, so you've got to be happy with that situation. But Barrage showing they still have some fight and still have some life in them.
Yeah, double Infernal and a Ocean Drake now in the pockets of Diabolus, which is going to give them a huge damage advantage running through this latter half of the game.
Yeah, Barrage probably hoping that the Ocean will cancel out the Infernal, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that for anyone wondering.
Just in case you were wondering, in League of Legends, water does not beat fire.
Yeah. I mean, Nami's pretty good against Brun. No, she's not. She's awful.
Is Nami good against anyone?
No. If you pick Nami, you're trolling, so please don't.
Damn, that was like my most played champion in Season 7.
Things change.
They do.
Things change.
These kids these days don't know what it's like to be a Season 2 Leona main.
Yes. I mean, some of them do. I think Hado probably played Leona in Season 2.
Hado probably played and was professional before I even started playing.
Yeah, so now it's in a position with Diablous. Again, they can take the thing a bit slower. They have a 4K Goldie, they have those double Infernals, they're on big spikes. They need to ensure that when they go for this Baron, it's clean, because they could potentially throw the game away. That's where Barrage can come back in, because there isn't, like we saw games where you have the Sejuani and then the Urgot. They can just tank the Baron for days. But in this situation, you can't really do that. At least Sin is going to take a lot of damage from the Baron. So when they go for it, it has to be clean execution. And they can't afford to give up too much in regards to HP.
So a pretty significant advantage still held by Diabolus at this point, and they are now sitting on a BF sword on top of that combo, the Stormrazor rapid fire cannon. This seems like a little mini spike that you can look to abuse around Baron. Remember, they actually want to win this mid game pretty heavily if you're Diabolus. You don't want to let this go too late, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think most teams want to win.
Win the mid game.
I think most teams want to win in the mid game.
Yeah, okay. Let me rephrase that. Their composition definitely dictates that the mid game is a really good place for them to put pressure down.
Better. That's a good one. I like
go.
it. Yeah. The thing is that there is still avenues for Barrage to get in. Like I said, they have these two carries. They have these carries who will be huge late. And if you look at Yusa, he's sitting on a fatty 1K gold bounty.
Good escape there by Monkeys, and actually they've blown a decent number of ultimates, I think, coming out from Kremel there. It's on a fairly short cooldown, but maybe this is... Huh?
You said a decent number.
Yeah, well, a decent number is one. They're going to go for this mid lane tier 2 here.
You're not wrong.
They're going to get their tier 2 for free as well, which is pretty good. Kerberos now absolutely decimating Artorias, who's forced to taunt across the wall. That early game advantage that he had in the lane.
I don't think he's getting out here, though.
No, because he is going to be collapsed on by both Monkeys and Hado on that bottom side of the map as Krogson manages to escape. They do get the kill, as I believe Yusa was also down there. And now the Shen, the presence on the other side of the map has been removed. They look like they're going to rotate upwards.
Yeah, so Artorias was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Got kicked in the wall, and he's dead. So, yeah, not much you can do about that one. Does have TP and his ult, though, so it's not going to be too difficult for Barrage to buy time until he's back up. Does mean that they will give over control of the Baron area, at least for the next 20 seconds. And you can see Hado and Monkeys moving together to get control of this area. And this is a duo who played together last split on Enclave, and they've stuck together, so clearly happy with their jungle support synergy.
Nothing really going to be committed to here, but Kerberos does pick up a tower, and that's a really good capitalization on the kill onto Artorias there. And actually, because it was a full team rotation, you would have thought, well, Barrage can do something on the other side of the map. But they were shoved in mid lane, they were shoved in top lane, and they really weren't in a strong enough position to go for something like Baron. So it was a very risk-free rotation coming out from Diabolus.
Yeah, I mean, if they'd caught Krogson out, maybe things would have been different and they could have gone for Baron, but it's pretty hard to catch out Lissandra, especially when she has Flash. So in the end, they don't really get much from it. Things are definitely ramping up, though, and this next team fight may well set the pace for the game. Infinity
Edge completed as well for you, so that is a huge item spike. This is probably the point in the game where Xayah is going to be the strongest she's going to be in terms comparatively.
Hado was just CSing mid, and then the cannon, he just left it. That really hurt me.
Oh, mate, it's a small thing at this point in the game.
It hurts my soul,
It's a small thing.
You rarely get those cannons as a support. You shouldn't give them up.
Buddy.
Oh, well.
Another Ocean Drake, likely uncontested here. And Diablous going to rack up 2 Oceans and 2 Fires, which unfortunately, like Orcs discovered earlier, does not cancel each other out.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but, you know, more than you can hope for.
More than you can hope for, indeed, Orcs. Baron again being postured around, and this feels like it's where Diabolus is ramping up towards. They want to take this Baron and try and end the game with one swift punch. And with the vision clearing out on the top side of the map, it feels like that's what they are aiming for. Barrage, whilst the early game was really solid for them, they have just kind of slowly lost. I can't really put it any other way. They have just slowly lost from that point, never able to get much out of the bottom side of the map, and probably most crucially, their bottom side of the map has fell significantly behind compared to Hado and Yusa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's almost 100 CS advantage coming out, and we talked about how the Kais is going to be a late game threat, but you're now a whole item behind the Xayah. You're 2 levels behind. It's not a good situation. And now they're looking to stop the Baron. It has been spotted, though, and again, they don't have any great targets. Binding hits Yusa, they could actually go aggressive here. Look how low he is. That's
a huge amount of damage onto Yusa, and actually that's the warning shot that Diabolus need to back off.
I mean, this is the issue. You have no one who's a great tank to soak the damage. That's why they had to bring Kerberos up here and pull him away from the split push. And they devoted him to come all the way up here and spend that time. And then when it fails, they've just essentially wasted a lot of pressure on the bot side. So now Kerberos has to head back towards bot, shove in, and then once again establish that pressure. So, I mean, a good win for Barrage just by stopping that from happening.
Yeah, small wins is what they're going to need to stack up over the course of the next few minutes as Nutri has finished up his Ginsu's Rage Blade as well. And now Barrage are looking to get some vision control of their own around this Baron pit. Just trying to claw back that map that has slowly been pried away from them with the onslaught of the Diabolus top side of the map, pushing through mid and top at the simultaneous times. Simultaneous times doesn't even make sense because simultaneously literally means at the same time.
Simultaneously at the same time as being at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Simultaneously,
exactly.
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
There's still a win condition for Barrage, though. If they kill Yusa, and you saw he got very low in that last Baron attempt, that's a 1,000 gold bounty. That is a huge swing for anyone who gets it. I mean, can you imagine if they got it, but then it went to, like, Prelude? I would actually cry.
Well, Prelude's built Zhonya's Hourglass.
Yeah, but he's still not going to be a carry.
No, it's a pretty standard item for Morgana supports, especially when solo queue. You just need that to be able to be effective with your ultimate in teamfights in a lot of scenarios. So going for that Zhonya's doesn't give much protection, although just by having your ultimate, you are providing a zoning tool for your team.
Absolutely. It means you'll be able to land good ones. I mean, right now, the game has slowed down massively. Summoners are available across the board. And I think this is good for Barrage because this item disadvantage in AD carries, you want it to thin out as much as possible, but you have to be cautious. No scryers available for the side of Diablous. And they're going to look for a pick on a Prelude.
Prelude immediately pops the Zhonya's. That's a flashback from Yusa. A big commit to this team fight as the Baron is still going. Ooh,
great
huge engage from Croxon. And here comes Kerberos from the sidelines as Scudsy is taken very low. The 1-2 combo of Croxon and Kerberos absolutely decimating as Hado flashes in, lands onto Nutri, and Kramel and Artorias can do nothing but watch as they get put to the slaughter by the Diabolus roster.
And Diabolus force that engage and just run them down. There is nothing that Barrage can do in the face of all these players. Great play from them, and that's going to be Baron, not for Barrage, for Diabolus.
They're going to get this with relative ease. Artorias, the only member of the team left alive, and you can't help but feel this is the sword that slew the battleship.
Yeah, interesting you can slay a battleship with a sword, but we'll see that team fight again. So good hook from Hado, manages to find Prelude, and though he's on you, he doesn't manage to use his ult before that. A quick back off, but then Krogson goes in. Taunts at the start, so nearly goes bad, but gets the ult in the end. And then crucially, Hado, once again, landing good hooks across this fight. It's just one right at the end onto Nutri after the flash, which just completely cements this team fight in their favor.
Yeah, I should have said sunk the battleship, you know. Could have done a Simpsons thing. You sunk my battleship. But
I'm sure that's from the game Battleship before Simpsons.
Was it actually?
Yes, that's the set. But
I thought Battleship was just the Battleship was just the board game.
But they have like an advert for it, and they go, "You sunk my battleship." I'm sure they do.
Ah, well, I only played the one that didn't have the fancy voice.
But I'm sure. No, I'm sure it was in the advert though for Battleship.
Diabolus is about to choose B6 and land a killing blow onto Barrage here. As they push down the middle portion of the map. They 1-3-1-ing, making use of that Baron buff, trying to utilize their very strong side laners, especially Kerberos in this game. As they land a pull onto Scudsy, not going to commit because they are only 3, but it's just generating that pressure for them to use.
Absolutely, and the thing is, they have this Baron. Everything is in their favor. They're pushing in the lanes in this 1-3-1 slowly. No reason to go over-aggressive here. The game is in their hands.
Kerberos has got such a huge wave here on this top side of the map. 2 buffed up siege minions as another turret goes down in the bottom side of the map. Krogson not letting Artorias get away, uses the ultimate. This should be an easy kill for him. And that was, oh, well, not quite. Didn't actually have the cooldowns to get that kill as
I think
Artorias.
he did if he used his claw again. I think he came up, but if you claw in there, I don't think you were getting out again. But they do manage to get the top, the bottom, the mid inhibitors. Top still standing, but it's not looking good for the side of Barrage.
Now, Krogson can just TP back into this as well, as the last inhibitor is being absolutely slammed. Scudzy with a last-ditch attempt. Artorias diving in on him, but that is a massive, massive dodge by Yusa here, as Nutri dives to the backline and immediately gets blown up. And now it is the Yusa show, as he is just pounding huge amounts of damage across this Barrage roster. Kerberos on the sideline as well should be able to finish off with the Artorias, and you can see this is going to be Diabolus pushing down and taking the game.
Yeah, well deserved. We thought this game was going to be a lot closer than it was, and Diabolus showed us that we were wrong. Come out, trying to run out the base. We'll make it, but unfortunately the Nexus falls. And great performance from Diabolus there. Proven they are one of the top 4 for a reason.
So what do you think were the problems that Barrage were facing? Was it just that Diabolus were too good? Were there any glaring areas that you think that maybe Barrage struggled with?
I think the composition was way easier to execute for Diabolus. I think the Victor pick and the Kai'Sa just wasn't strong enough in lane. The Victor pick, again, it was like you have these 2 very vulnerable carries. You saw when M&M played a composition with a carry they wanted to protect. They had a great front line for it. It was a Sivir who has a spell shield. And then it was just great play from Monk to have that protection. In this situation, it felt like the Kai'Sa and the Victor were sort of left outstanding, so a bit more questionable.
The MVP for this game, by the way, if you hadn't guessed, was Kerberos. Despite getting killed by Artorias in lane, he came out with a 7.0 KDA, the 1-2 Kerberos punch.
He did redeem himself.
He did redeem himself, like we said. Had a really, really good game, and all credit to him. He played an absolute blinder with some of his teleports as well.
Apart from when he got solo killed.
Apart from when he got solo killed. But let's not draw attention to that, because he had so many great team fight moments. So many great team fight moments that game, and Diabolus pulled themselves with the first win. That does mean we have got our 4 teams going into the Sphere draw, and it's going to be Diabolus, it's going to be XL, it's going to be Fnatic Rising, and it's also going to be M&M. The 4 that most people would have predicted being in the top 4 of the UKLC, and that has come to light at the end of day 1.
Yeah, there were definitely some close games at times. I don't think anyone's super surprised with the teams, but I think people might be surprised with the people who showed up on the other teams. But it definitely is going to make for an exciting semi-finals regardless of the matchups. I mean, we could end up with so many variations, but all of them, I think the teams are going to be going for blood.
I think we're going to be on a fairly even set of keels when we come to the semi-finals here. I think all the teams performed at a similar level, and I don't think anyone stood out as being absolutely stompy, you know?
I think Diabolus' win definitely looked cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, you could factor in maybe compositional differences in that sense. But
yeah, absolutely. I think maybe Barrage just went a bit askew with the draft and had the issue of their last-minute substitution. But I think absolutely you can't see that much from a best of 1. But I think going into tomorrow, it's anyone's games for the competition.
Now, do remember, guys, tomorrow, if you weren't aware, is Valentine's Day. And you could spend it with a special loved one, or you could spend it with us here at the UKLC.
We can be your special loved one.
We can be your special loved ones. So make sure you tweet us pictures of UKLC, even if it's a picture of you watching the stream. As long as it's got like a heart emoji on it, especially towards my face.
It's a great date. I guarantee if you have a date where you're watching the stream, it will go successfully.
Exactly. Just bring them to your TV and put on Twitch and say, you know, tonight we are going to sit down and watch UKLC. So tweet the Valentine pictures at us. If you can beat me and Orcs in love as we are, then I will give you a virtual cookie emoji. So let's have a look at some of the replays on this game, Orcs. I mean, Diabolus just looks strong from the outset.
Yeah, I think crucially, we talked about Hado, and he showed his experience as a veteran, constantly finding these great hooks in these team fights. You saw that one at the end onto Nutri. It's just all around solid A across the board. And I think, again, this Ergot was a massive factor in all these team fights, constantly finding the fair behind death, a massive powerhouse. And just testament, Diabolus knew what they had to do with their composition. Yes, it was easy to execute, but they made it happen.
Yusa looked really good as well. There were questions being raised. You said Yusa's been said that he's got a little bit of an ego in the fight, but I mean, he certainly proved.
I mean, he earned it in that game.
He talked the talk, and he also walked the walk in this game. Yusa looked great.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see if he gets tested by a stronger bot lane. like I said, Nutri new to the role, although I think he had a decent performance, but Prelude, a last-minute substitution always going to hurt them. I think against a stronger bot lane, we get to test Yusa.
Well, guys, hello and welcome to my Fruit Bowl segment of the show, where we have 4 of our spheres here, which Scoundrel, you're going to lift up, so...
I want to make it really, really dramatic, so I'm going to hold it like a statue.
I want a power pose, you know. I want something as impactful as Kerberos's 1-2 auto attack reset.
All right, so what we're going to do, Jake, is we're going to draw each of the teams individually.
Yes.
I want to know specifically what we're drawing for here.
Okay, so what we're drawing for here is the...
I just saw through one of the things. That's not one of the 4 teams.
That's not one of the 4 teams.
Right. I'm gonna make sure we have the right teams. So just okay, that's one of the right teams.
So I'll give a little breakdown.
I'm glad we've got Orcs, because otherwise we'd have just drawn.
That's one of the right teams.
All right, good spot.
Good spot, Orcs.
Wow, and they're really good balls because you can see.
I believe we need a Diabolus sticker, if I'm right.
Actually, hold on.
We're fixing it on the fly.
I've got them in here.
Not only are we casters, we are actually sort of production level assistants.
Who do we need?
As well.
Who do we need? I've got all of them here.
He's got a whole set of cards.
There's a Diablous.
Thank you.
That's all we're missing.
There we go.
Is that everyone?
All right. We've changed it. We've changed
it.
Right.
How about I give us a little rundown of actually how this draw is going to work? Okay. So we've obviously got 4 teams, which are correct.
We've got the correct teams now.
We have the correct teams now. The way that you can probably hear, we're not on camera, mate, so you can.
I'm just mixing them up.
You've already opened one. You're not doing a good job here. Anyway,
damn it!
Doesn't matter.
Stop mixing the spheres.
Just leave them alone for a second.
Done.
All right, we're ready.
We are ready for the draw. Okay, so before we do the draw, before you touch anything, get your hands to yourself. What we're gonna do is we'll explain how it works. As
why did you trust us with this?
I don't know.
I didn't know that we were entrusted with this. I don't know.
So, I'm going to get this out before we break down. Right, so how this is going to work is first draw, which will be the first ball we take out, is going to be our blue side for game 1. The second team we draw will be blue side for game 2. And then after that, game 2's game 1's red side team will be the third draw, and the 4th draw will be game 2's red side. So, Orcs, now that we've got the right teams, do you want to pull it out and figure out who is going to be blue side for game 1 in tomorrow's games?
And it's going to be this one, which is Diablous.
All right, Diablous will be on the blue side for game 1 in our first game from tomorrow's games. I mean, that's fine. All right, so next one will be blue side for game 2. He's closing his eyes because he can't see through them. That's how we make it fair.
It is Fnatic Rising.
All right, Fnatic Rising will be going up on blue side for game 2. This will now be who takes on Diabolus. So this will be red side for game 1.
It is XL.
XL versus Diabolus will be our first game from tomorrow. And then obviously we're all aware who is going to be taking on Fnatic Rising, but just for clarity.
I wonder who it is.
Just for clarity, Orcs.
It is.
I like that you still mixed it when there was only one ball in there.
M&M.
All right, cool. You can't throw that, Scoundrel. Okay, apparently you can throw that. We're just going to wreck the set on day 1. Don't ruin my fireplace. I like that.
I almost killed the fireplace.
It's not going to last the whole split. No way.
All right, let's talk predictions while we've got a moment here. Coming into this, we've got Diabolus taking on XL, and then we've got Fnatic taking on M&M. What are we excited for? What games?
Funnily enough, if I were to do this bracket the classic way, that's probably the way that my semi-finals would have lined up anyway, because you would imagine that XL and Fnatic come in as the 1st and 2nd seed, so they are going to be taking on the respective 3rd and 4th seeds as it stands. This, I think, is probably the fairest way of looking at it. I think, from what I've seen so far, I'm very much looking forward to Diabolus versus XL. I think that's going to be a really good game.
I think that'll be a close one. And again, best of ones, anything can happen, but there's a lot on the line here with the first UKLC tournament. So,
and I think you hit the nail on the head as well when you said that Diabolus actually. Did I say it wrong?
No.
Nail on. Come on, it's been a long day, man. You've thrown me. Diabolus very clean today. I think out of all of the wins we had, Diabolus definitely looked the cleanest. I think Yusa was back to his consistency as an AD player. We knew him in Forge of Champions. And Kerberos, back on carries, looking very, very comfortable on that. So going to be excited for the XL versus Diabolus match.
I think Fnatic Rising versus Eminem might be a bit more of a tough ask for Eminem, just given from what I've seen today. I do think Eminem looked good, but you are now playing up against Fnatic Rising, who are arguably, you know, our #1 seed in the entire UKLC. But I couldn't have asked for 4 of the sort of the more hyped teams to get into our first set of semi-finals.
Yeah, then obviously when it comes to finals, we'll see the top 2 face out. So going to be an exciting day tomorrow.
Definitely going to be an exciting day indeed. But if you did miss any of the games today, you can actually head over to our YouTube, LVP UK, and catch up on all of the VODs. They'll be getting uploaded hopefully shortly, so you can catch up on that. And also, Twitter is a thing we have, so you can hashtag us with #1 or #2, apparently.
Yeah, but also, we want your Valentine's pictures.
Yes,
Remember,
that's the one. That's
you're going to
the
be spending Valentine's Day with us. I mean, what more could you ask for Valentine's? I mean, I might even buy you a steak dinner if you send me a picture. No promises, actually, no promises at all, but I still want your picture.
Yeah, but obviously...
I feel like you can get some suggestive pictures now for the steak dinner.
Okay, PG-13, please.
Yeah, we need to be able to put those steak dinners
I need to
and
be able
those
to put this
pictures
on
on the
stream.
YouTube.
Basically,
so, yeah.
if you send us a good one, we might put your picture on stream and you can say, yay, Valentine's Day. There you go.
Yay, Valentine's Day. Very nice. Pretty excited to see exactly what's going to be going on in tomorrow's games, but I mean, coming out of today, I think a lot of expectations were hit.
Yes, absolutely. I think we had an excellent first day here at the UKLC. Tomorrow we're going to have the semi-finals and the finals, and finally we'll find out who dethrones Enclave as, or potentially dethrones Enclave at the top of the tower.
It's going to be a matter of whether or not they can enclave in on themselves. Wait, don't want to enclave in on themselves.
See you guys. We've had a really nice stream.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock.